In order, clerk, call the roll.
Here.
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 Present.
Here. I don't believe your mic is on.
Oops. Here you go.
Sunshine notice.
Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was published in the Thursday, July 1st, 2021 editions of the Belleville Times and Star Ledger. A copy of the annual meeting notice has been posted on the Belleville Town Hall bulletin board, and copies are on file in the municipal clerk's office.
Pledge of allegiance. To my right. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chief, I may have hit the panic button.
Oops. Everyone is an alert.
Next item on our agenda
There's a text.
is a presentation. It's titled on our resolution. It's a presentation to Good Samaritans, Samuel Fontes and Ivan Mancheno, for saving the life of Rocco Cicchetti. We did practice this earlier. Cicchetti or Cicchetti?
Chichetti.
Cicchetti, got it. So I'm going to invite up both Rocco and Ivan, and I'm going to just say a few words, though, as they come up, and then we're going to have everybody come up, Rocco as well afterwards.
Sam.
I'm sorry. Who did I say?
Samuel. Rocco and Ivan.
I'm sorry. Rocco and Sam, and Rocco, too.
Now how many Roccos are there?
So I'm going to go right here. I'm just going to speak so the mic picks us up. So for those of you who don't know, today we're issuing a proclamation on behalf of the mayor and council to what we call Good Samaritans. I would call you heroes, and we're going to get into that story in just a few minutes. And then I'm going to ask everybody to give a nice round of applause, because what these gentlemen did in literally saving the life of Rocco is something that should be known and something that should be talked about. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we hear a lot of bad stories. If you listen to the media, it's all doom and gloom. And I don't doubt that's what the media says, but there are real human beings in this world. And we're looking at two human beings that literally saved the life of a third human being. This is beyond just Good Samaritans. This is beyond heroes. And I know you both, if I talk to you both, are both very uncomfortable with that title. But this goes beyond that.
Well, I'm not.
This speaks to neighborly love, and it speaks to just good people in Belleville, which we're very, very proud of good people in Belleville.
They really did something about it, because there is too much about bad people.
Right.
There's a lot of good
There is.
people, and other people shit don't really.
They are going to know, and I think they've known it. So if you haven't learned their story yet or haven't heard their story yet, it's circulating around social media and around the media. Everybody lived through that horrible storm we had, Hurricane Ida, that Wednesday night. These gentlemen live on Continental. On Continental, that's where Rocco lives.
I live on.
Around the block, Fairway. And I was reached out by your daughter, Gia, right here, a couple days later to tell me about a story about Good Samaritans. I immediately thought it would be something worthy of honor among the council. Council colleagues, obviously unanimously tonight, I'm sure, are going to support this proclamation. It's a story about Rocco, who still works, and Rocco coming home from work during a storm, like everybody else, always thinks that your car can make it through a flood, or always thinks if you do make it through a flood, you can walk out of your car. And take it from somebody who sat home listening to their police radio all night and hearing what our police and what our firemen were going through that day, screaming at people to stay in their cars, having DPW come and break windows with backhoes to pull people out. Rocco's story is a great story because today we get the opportunity to honor these two men for saving a life, as opposed to being at a funeral a week ago. I would have been at a funeral a week ago if it was not probably for these two men. And for that, I think they deserve all of our applause. I did promise Rocco I would have him home for the Yankee game today.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I'm going to read the proclamation that will be passed today by the mayor and council. Gentlemen, could you just, I want you guys to look good in your photos.
Yeah.
Okay, it says, whereas on the evening of Wednesday, September 2nd, 2021, Samuel Fontes and Ivan Manchano saved 81-year-old and 81-year-old from drowning under the surging waters of Hurricane Ida. I apologize, your age is in there. Whereas Rocco, a resident of Belleville, was returning home after working his shift at the deli counter at the supermarket in Nutley. And whereas in the darkness of night, Rocco misjudged how deep the water had become on Continental Avenue. When his car stalled, he decided to try to wade through the water. When he opened the door, the water rushed into his vehicle. And whereas each time a car would pass, it would create a wave that would knock him down. Another wave would come, and he would fall again. Rocco did not have the strength to get up and became submerged under the water. And whereas nearby neighbors, Samuel and Ivan, witnessed Rocco falling under the knee-high waters and not getting back up on his feet. And whereas Samuel and Ivan rushed to Rocco's aid, and in the chaos of wind, rain, thunder, lightning, picked him up out of the water and brought him to safety. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the municipal council of the Township of Belleville do hereby express their warm appreciation and gratitude to Good Samaritans, Samuel and Ivan, for their actions on September 2nd, 2021, and undoubtedly saved the life of Rocco. Congratulations.
Thank you all for coming. Good night.
Rocco, would you like to say anything?
Thank you for honoring them, because they really deserved it. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got going for the Yankee.
That's it.
Before we continue to me, I'm just going to ask any council members, starting to my left, Mr. Graziano, you want to congratulate, please?
Yes. No, I'd like to congratulate the gentleman who saved Rocco. And thank you. Thank you for heroics, and thank you for being here with us today.
All right. She didn't turn on.
Mike.
John?
Yes, again, I want to thank the two gentlemen. And Rocco, I do believe in angels. And those two guys
Guys are.
were your angels.
That's it.
It's, I had the opportunity to speak with Rocco earlier, and there's even more to the story. Rocco was telling me that after working the deli, usually he takes his white jacket off, puts it in his trunk when he drives home. That was the only day in years that he kept his white jacket or shirt on, which made him noticeable in the night.
Wow.
Everything for a reason. Yeah.
Deputy Mayor?
Yes, I am convinced that these are the things that make Belleville such a beautiful community. You know, if we look into the world and we say there is darkness and everything is bad and everyone is awful, that's exactly what we will see. But if we look for the kindness and the goodness and the just the neighbor love that we experience here, then we will find that. And I do believe that you reap what you sow. So you guys have, you know, you sowed into him kindness and love, and I believe that that will come back to you tenfold. So God bless you, and thank you so much for what you've done.
Yeah, this storm was no joke. I myself had to get rescued, so I know
He
it's
knows
not
exactly what
It's
he
not. It was no joke, and real heroes. They don't think, they act, and you guys just acted, and we're grateful for that. So thank you. You guys are real heroes. Thank you.
So,
No, there's no proclamation for rescuing you.
no. Well, he rescued Brian Bandon, man.
Oh,
So,
maybe. Yeah,
so,
by the underwear.
you know, I mean, it's amazing how a little bit of water what it can do to you. So, and you kind of realized, you guys put your lives on the line to save his life, which is a great thing. So God bless you all, keep you safe, and just remember how dangerous water can be.
Yeah.
And
Okay?
that's exactly what I said to Rocco. I know these gentlemen have been very uncomfortable with some of the publicity that they've received. And it's worthwhile, though. It's a good story, as the deputy mayor said, it's a good story about human beings, but as I said to Rocco and his daughter earlier, it's also a good learning experience for people, that they read this story, not only is it a positive story, but they read that here's somebody in his own words who lived to tell that story, by the way, saying that I didn't think the water was that deep.
Right,
And then
right.
when I got out of my car, I attempted to get home and I couldn't make it. Most people don't live to tell that story, so I'm glad that all three of you gentlemen are here
Yeah,
today.
no
So,
doubt.
thank you. I'm going to entertain a motion to go into executive session. When we do that, we are going to clear the room, so it'll be a perfect opportunity if your families want to exit, you can do so. You're in time for the Yankee game, Rocco. I need a motion to go into executive session. We are going into executive session to discuss
Second.
only potential litigation. We are not discussing update to garbage bids. That will be done during the manager's report. We're going to executive session only to discuss potential litigation. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion made in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Everybody, we have exited executive session. No action was taken while we were there. We were in there to discuss potential litigation. We're now going to move forward with the rest of our meeting. The rest of our meeting being, next item on the agenda, the report of the manager. Please turn the mic on. Thank you.
Hey, good evening, everyone. A couple items to discuss. I know some housekeeping items. I'm sure the mayor is going to cover most of the events that are coming up and that are scheduled, but you may be missing this Thursday, the Kiwanis Club is having a blood drive over at our senior center. And obviously, that's always a great way to make a contribution. So I don't know if you had that on your list for the blood drive. I would like to report that we have been very aggressively working on a new bid for our garbage contractor. I'm sure you have heard some horror stories with the existing contract and the service that's being performed in the town of Belleville, which is certainly has not lived up to our expectations. And actually, the contract itself is a problem. So what we're doing, and what the council has done, is we hired actually a professional consultant who just works on garbage bids. And we made some major improvements that we think will result in a better product, a better service. So just to give you just a very general terms of some of our improvements, we not only are we going out for the collection, which obviously talks about how many days a week that they pick up, things of that nature, but we're also doing a separate bid for the marketing, and the marketing is where we actually take our recyclables. And we hopefully will get some competitive bidding, and hopefully people will provide us with marketing whereas it shows the current market rate, it shows a cap, and in some cases, the marketing recycling company will probably take a chance to say, we can guarantee you this regardless if the rate drops. The town of Belleville will still get, or still will only have to pay. So some of these changes that we're making in the bid will hopefully, and we're pretty confident, is going to result in a much better product. One of the, we've been taking the complaints. I could tell you, if I get 10 complaints in one day, 8 of them is garbage related.
Sure.
So we have really zeroed in on liquidated damages, anywhere from spillage to the fact that failure to complete the route, missed stops. We even have a $100 fine per house if the contractor does not return the trash receptacle back to the curb. So that, whoever the new contractor, he could be fined $100 per home if they fail to bring the trash receptacle back to the curb. These are some of, again, we're taking the complaints that we hear every day, and we've included them in the bid pack. So again, we're pretty confident. work continues up at the field. The next major thing is to get all of the LED lighting open, because I know soccer season and the youth soccer program. So that's the next item that we're working on, and that you'll see some improvement. And again, obviously, the track and field. I do want to just bring to the mayor's and council's attention, a decision has not been made, but where we removed the infamous bleachers, there's, believe it or not, there is a possibility to provide for, at a very, hopefully relatively inexpensive way, of providing two, not one, but two, there's enough for two pickleball courts. If you don't know what pickleball court is, it is the fastest growing sport in America. It's probably going to be in the next Olympics. It caters, it's a great sport for seniors, okay? And in other communities, they have long lines to play pickleball. It's again, it's a cross between tennis and ping pong. But pickleball is the new hot sport, and we may, again, this is just preliminary, but I did want to get it out there to the council in my report, that we're going to probably put together probably a little estimate, because the engineer did say there's enough room right where the one bleachers were to replace that area with two pickleball courts. So it's something new and exciting. Keeping in the line of recreation, tonight our public health nurses are meeting with our coaches and volunteer parent coaches for football, soccer, cheerleading, and they're going over all of the protocol of COVID-19, because obviously protocol is changing a little bit now, but when somebody on the football team or in the cheering squad or on the soccer team gets COVID, obviously it's more than just that child, because he's in close contact with not only his team members, but then he goes to school the next day. So our nurses are, actually, I think it's a 7:30 meeting with the recreation department. So that's pretty, I think that's pretty impressive, that we're trying to, stay current of the COVID curve. Obviously, COVID has not gone away, and we are still fighting the challenge. We had announcement, FEMA will be back in Belleville this Saturday at the middle school gymnasium. I think the hours are 9 to 4. We'll have it up. If it's not up on the website, I think it is, but if it's not on the website, it will be tomorrow morning. We'll be sending out texts. We'll be sending out robocalls. Public Works is still cleaning up after Ida. It's been a challenge. We have a major FEMA application that our OEM is submitting. I know the OEM coordinator, Deputy Chief Corbo, is in-house, and maybe, again, the application is going as, do you know what our deadline for that is? Because I want to send out another memo to the department heads.
Initial preliminary reports, they're all submitted, so we just have to wait for the next step.
Okay. So that's exciting news. So FEMA will be back in town for residents that are still
I
struggling.
have a question on that, Ant.
Sure.
So on the website, I saw it today, on the website, we have FEMA notice that went up today, but it's talking about a county site.
Yeah, so I
Belleville
actually.
one is not there.
I actually sent Alpha Dog a memo that the county has a 7-day-a-week operation in West Orange. And that's great news, and it's good if we didn't have them coming into Belleville. The minute we got confirmation, I sent Alpha Dog, and I said to switch it. They probably just didn't get to it.
Oh, I might not have seen it. This
I
was
sent them
late
an
morning.
email and said, take the West Orange one down. That's great if we didn't have them coming into Belleville. But since they're coming to Belleville, let's not confuse our residents.
Leave them both up.
Well,
No?
Why not?
they look alike, so I don't want anybody to read one without reading the other, and I think the Belleville one is more important.
The
But
other
Sunday
FEMA
morning, we could put the West Orange one back up.
The other FEMA question I had is, I know there's a lot of debris stockpiled down at DPW. I do not want this to end up being the dirt pile, the 5-story dirt pile for years. So you got to give me your word that we're going to get rid of that debris that's stockpiled. I do not want a 5-year
Yeah.
dirt pile 5 stories high.
Bobby is not here tonight, but I can assure you we have a game plan in place, and the plan includes that.
Removing it? It's the
Yeah,
only thing I want to know about.
I don't think it's going to take 30 days, but it'll be gone.
Okay. I mean, that, we're going to get reimbursed by FEMA, so.
That's part of, sure, all of the containers.
We're only 75%, just so the residents know, we get, if we're lucky, we get 75%. It's not a full reimbursement.
And as far as we're concerned, we're still keeping the clock. I'm sorry?
Wait, are you, Is it FEMA related? Okay, go ahead.
Related. So with all the flooding that happened in all of those bad spots and across Belleville, what about the sewers that have been backed up and flooded and we haven't, can we have those cleaned out and also? make
The
part of
sewer
it?
base, the sewer
The
basins?
sewers, I walk by and
Yes.
there's.
So
catch
we have a,
basins.
the catch basins, we have a, prior to Ida, we have a maintenance contract where our sewer vac is going around.
Understood.
And then we also now, we have highlighted some, what we call hotspots, so we keep an eye on that and we include
We
that.
do have some fake ones, though, that are dead, but they look clogged, but they're actually dead. Is that-
Speak to anyone.
I do agree with Councilman, okay?
So we have to keep.
They have to do something with those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
horrible.
Bobby has a maintenance,
we're proactive.
he has a maintenance plan in place, and I can provide that in writing with a simple email.
That's where all the
Is
flooding
that
is
it for your
coming
manager
from.
report?
No, and just one last item for.
5 minutes is up.
One last item that I have. At the last council meeting, we had a topic that created some debate. You may have read about it, you may have seen it. Prior to anyone asking any questions on that one particular topic, you need to understand that there's we are strictly prohibited from speaking about it. So, and specifically, I'm strictly prohibited from speaking on it. So certainly, I don't want it to come across that it's rude or disrespectful. Certainly, your questions will be answered, not necessarily tonight, but, every resident taxpayer is entitled to a question and is entitled to an answer to that question. But if you ask that question tonight, it would be just a very standard answer that we are prohibited, or I am prohibited from speaking on topic. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Could we-
Any
one sec,
questions
one sec.
relating to
Yeah,
the
I have
manager
one
report?
thing. Could we go back to the garbage contract for 1 minute?
Sure.
Do you know where we're going to post that bid yet?
Okay, so it gets posted in all of the papers that we have identified as official newspapers, which includes the Star Ledger, the local Observer, things like that. It's obviously posted on our website, okay? It will be posted on our website. And we have a pre-bid meeting scheduled for October 13th if our plan and schedule is intact. And as of this morning, it's still in place to shoot for that. We'll be advertising for the pre-bid meeting, not the receive bids, but the pre-bid meeting. And I think just on the indication of who actually comes to the meeting on October 13th will be either a very good sign or possibly a very bad sign.
Right, because I know in the past, only one company has sometimes bid on it, and
I can tell you that in the last probably 2 weeks, I have received 3 OPA requests to
Review.
read the existing contract.
Right, right.
And that's usually an indication, doesn't guarantee us, but it's an indication that people know it's out there and it's coming up.
all right, because I would like to see that also posted in the contractors' newspaper.
Like the Blue Book or whatever.
Yeah.
If you could, you're a contractor, if you could give me some of that information, I'll make sure we're out there.
I'll give you a better source. Mr. Frantantoni knows exactly where they
gov-
are, because
gov
he
bids
yells
and
all the
stuff
time
like
that we don't put it there, and I think we really need to
We
put it there.
should, gov bids, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I-
yeah. So,
Be noted,
I gave you credit, Vin.
Mr.
Okay,
absolutely
anything
right.
else?
I just had a quick
Yeah.
question. How are we making out with the dumps? Have they kind of settled down a little bit? Because I know
Yeah.
there's 8 times and,
So probably one of the reasons why we have so much
Right.
in the yard is because we probably were laying off, getting the stuff to the yards because you lose hours. So now we'll probably be going, now that
the queue
it's
time.
almost 3-4 weeks behind, hopefully that's where I think within the next 30 days, what the mayor's referring to will be gone.
I know they were queuing up like 4 or 5 hours. It was ridiculous.
It was bad. It
was bad.
And we stopped going because you lose,
You lose the whole day.
exactly.
Anybody else for the manager, on his manager report? Nope, I have a question, so thank you. I was going to ask you about what is called Resolution 21, which is a marketing plan. I would have been blamed for hiring another marketing company, but you eloquently explained that it's got to do with garbage.
Garbage.
And we are not hiring another marketing company, correct?
That's strictly where we actually take the recyclable materials.
Thank you for
2 or 3
answering that.
places in the area.
You
Correct.
saved us a question during public commenting.
Okay.
The next meeting, I don't know why they do that. It's
weird.
It's just, for the next meeting, it's going to be our caucus meeting, the first meeting in October. Can we get an update on the implementation of GovPilot? Asking, because I sent as you probably are aware, you would have received 3 emails from me asking just for some information on that. I'm curious because, as most of the people know, we did allocate $200,000, which is $50,000 a year, toward about 10 modules and a premium license. The premium license is for construction code. I do know that we are getting some use out of Oprah, and we're getting some use out of report of concern, although I find that the departments do not check it. I have to tell you, the manager, that there are 15 sitting in queue for 3 months, and the next day I get 15 notifications that 15 were opened. So, and that's me. I can't imagine if a resident is trying to use this thing to submit a concern, and as we had the conversation today, Anthony, dozens and dozens and dozens going back 3 or 4 months were never even looked at. So I know you addressed that because I got all those emails today as they were marked red. But the other concern I have is that we now, I was not in favor, as most people know, switching our construction code software. But now we've rehired the old firm. So I'm just confused as to, I was against this GovPilot thing. I thought it was not going to be utilized. Clearly, it's probably not being utilized because we just rehired the firm that we were going to be replacing with. So, which is only, just so the residents know, about $3,500, not $50,000. So we're paying the 50, and we just renewed the old firm.
I certainly will include that in
Please.
next meeting's report, and I will put together a detailed report. But just on the topic of the $3,500, the $3,500 is effective January 1st, 2021. We have no choice, and I think part of the presentation, when we said, was the transition requires us to keep both of them until we're up and running. So that, we just didn't do that it was, I think, $3,300 to Municity. That was for January 1st, which we
But
didn't
we just
have
did it
GovPilot.
last week.
For the
so-
past,
We're only paying, right, but we're only paying, and again, it will be all part of the detailed report.
So I'm curious next week, because we have a package of 10 modules. Animal licensing, curious as to what's been going through there. Now, keep in mind, I see the dashboard, so I know the answers to most of these questions. Asset management, business registrations, so far 0. Oprah's, I do know we utilize. Planning and zoning board, have no idea what that even means. Rental property verification, have no idea what that means. Report of concern, DPW is definitely utilizing it, which is good. Work order, not sure. And then we have 2 modules that are TBD, to be determined, to be determined. Curious as to what we paid for that is still not determined. And the most expensive part is this construction code premium model, and I don't believe we're up and running yet. Maybe we're waiting on something else, that's fine, but if we can just get an update on that, it'd be great.
Yes, sir.
And part of that email that I've sent 3 times is, I never saw a Municity contract, so we voted to renew them last meeting, or we voted to pay them, I should say, but I just never saw that contract.
Right, and I think that was part of the problem. It's not a contract, it's an invoice, and that's part of the problem. It's,
So we need to know then what the cancellation is, and
right, well,
I even saw the GovPilot one, there's no termination, there's no cancellations, no nothing in there.
right, so it's, the Municity is $3,500 for the 12 months. It was an
Licenses.
invoice, and that was it. But
Okay.
I'll include that in the report next meeting.
Thank you. That concludes the report of the manager. Real quick, report of the mayor. So we had some past events, Green Fair. I see Gabby's here. I know Vinny was very involved, Jackie was very involved. We had our first ever Green Fair. It was a combination event between the municipality and the school district. As everything that we do together, it's always an overwhelming success. I was shocked at the turnout for a first-time event. It was very well done. We had our community shred day the same exact day. It was a green weekend for us. I was on site, saw a lot of residents come utilizing that. We do that twice a year. And then last Friday, as I mentioned in the last meeting, I had the opportunity to spend some time with DPW. I know the manager joined us, the attorney joined us, Councilman Graziano joined us. Great opportunity to spend time with about 25 DPW men and women that came out. I don't get that opportunity. If I'm in the presence of township employees, it's always hundreds of people. To have 20, 25 people one-on-one was just a great opportunity. I thank everybody that came out to support that. So that was the past events. Upcoming events, we do have some great things happening at our library. A lot of ESL is happening, but I do want to mention that we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month at the library with self-portraits of Frida Kahlo. I'm actually a fan of Frida Kahlo, so good job on picking that artist. I have several of her works in my house. A big fan of Frida, so please come out October 8th and support that. Outdoor pumpkin painting at the library, Evil Laugh contest at the library, and a whole bunch of ESL stuff going on at the library. Please make sure you check it out. I did check while the manager was giving his manager report. The Belleville FEMA meeting is listed on our website, so that is there already. The Belleville FEMA meeting this Saturday is listed on our website. If you have not filed out your claims, please do so. This Saturday also, again, overwhelmed. I'm always shocked at the turnout we get. Townwide garage sale, Saturday and Sunday. I checked early the week, it was 60.
90 plus.
I was told 70. Now we're up to 90 plus. An updated list will be on the website. I hope tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Updated list will be on the website. 90 plus houses signed up. I'm always shocked at that number. Free flu shots Thursday, October 7th. Flu shots, check the website for more information on that. We're very excited to talk about our food truck festival is returning. We had 2 successful years. Last year we missed because of COVID. Food Truck Festival, Saturday, October 9th. You will see posters going out throughout the town. You will see a banner up throughout the town. That is going to be at the Claremas Professional Building where we always have it. Free parking in the parking deck. Obviously, police, fire, CERT. We'll have all kinds of people there to get you in and out. It's going to be nice. Not live music this year, but we're doing multiple DJs that are going to alternate throughout the night with different types of music. We are having October 10th, Sunday, October 10th, our Italian flag raising. It's going to be 9 a.m. right here. After 9 a.m., we go off to Nutley for 11 a.m., I believe. And then we do a parade, which starts the lineup is here at Belleville High School at 1:30. So Sunday, October 10th, Italian flag raising, 9 a.m., 11 o'clock in Nutley, and 1:30 we start, or I think we step off at 1:30 at Belleville High School. Today, I had the opportunity to finally reconvene a Veterans Council meeting. For those of you who don't know, it's something that I started when I got into office. I regularly meet with our senior clubs. I also regularly meet with our veteran commanders, at least 4 of them. Today, we had 4 commanders here. We had a representative of the Purple Hearts as well. And we also had Lucy Delgado, who's a Belleville resident. She's been appointed by the governor, been appointed by the president, she's been appointed by everybody to everything. She's all thing, mostly women's veterans issues, and she's a proud member of my Veterans Council. Veterans Day Parade is back this year. Veterans Day 5K is back. I had a conversation with the manager after the meeting. There are some logistical issues this year for some reason. Veterans Day falls on a Thursday. Do you do it before? Do you do it after? We're going before, as most people are. We traditionally do it on a Sunday. We traditionally do the 5K Saturday and the Veterans Parade on a Sunday. It's looking like both events are probably going to be on Saturday. There's logistical issues with other parades. There's logistical issues with other 5Ks, logistical issues with New York City Marathon. So it looks like it's going to be a Saturday event, both events the same day, which is going to be better for the police department. They're not shutting down roads twice.
What's the date? Did you say?
It is going to be
November 10th.
Jeannie? 6th, November 6th, Saturday, November 6th. Both things are probably going to happen the same day. Once I finalize coordination with the manager, we'll get some flyers out there. News, Mr. Graziano, this young man right here, celebrated his 65th wedding anniversary. Congratulations,
God
sir.
bless.
I asked him earlier, he said they've only had one fight. It has lasted 65 years. Thank you, Mr. Graziano, for being here, and not with your bride today. Congratulations to you. Just keep the family of our bus driver in your thoughts and prayers. That was a terrible medical episode that happened. Very grateful for that there were no children involved and only a slight minor injury to a second individual. I think it could have been a lot worse, and we still need continued prayers for him and his family. We did receive a $250,000 grant to acquire a piece of property. The manager and Councilman Cosarelli, we looped in Deputy Mayor DePena a little bit. We're trying to figure out what we're going to target, but it's $250,000. It's free money. We have to acquire a piece of property. The manager has been making some inroads to where we could do that. I think we have a deadline coming up in October to spend and allocate that money, so that's a good thing. As I mentioned, FEMA assistance Saturday, information's on our website. And lastly, just to let you know that the construction, the recreational renaissance facilities is ongoing here in Belleville. Work has commenced on our futsal field down at the number 9 school park. I do not say number 9 school because it's a municipal park. So the park located next to number 9 school has one futsal field beginning, and when that ends, we're going to build a second one right next to it. Logistical issues again. That's where we're going to leave that. So that's it. That's the mayor's report, actually. Next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. Madam Clerk. Next item on our agenda is communications.
Communications, a letter received from the Nutley Belleville Columbus Day and Italian Heritage Month Parade Committee asking for support of a flag raising ceremony at Belleville Town Hall on Sunday, October 10th, 2021 at 9 a.m. and a car caravan at Belleville High School beginning at 1:30 p.m.
That's something that gets forwarded to the police department. I know they will do a great job with that.
Letter received from Frank and Sheila Deckes for support of their annual breast cancer 5K walk on Saturday, October 23rd, beginning at 10 a.m. at Michael's Roscommon's house.
Same thing, sent to the police department.
Request received from Lynn's Auto Group for permission to hold a celebration in honor of their 68th anniversary on Friday, October 28th, 2021 through Sunday, October 31st, 2021 at their location of 75 Belmont Ave.
Same thing, sent to the police department. We don't, just so anybody, we don't okay these things. They go to the police department makes their own determinations on all these matters. We just receive them. Okay, next item on our agenda is ordinances. We have ordinances for introduction.
An ordinance to amend and revise general ordinance of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8 through 16, handicap parking spaces at 173 Smallwood Avenue, 48 Hornblower Avenue, 8 Lincoln Terrace, 120 Rucker Street, 81 High Street, 241 Linden Avenue, 1 Essex Street, 243 Valley Street, 2 Brook Street, 37 Council Street, 32 Frederick Street, 26 Columbus Avenue, 90 Columbus Ave, 50 Branch Brook Drive, and 46 New Street.
That's a whole bunch. Motion?
Make a motion to move for introduction.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to move for introduction. Clerk call the roll.
Councilman Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natori? Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob? Mayor Melham?
Yes. We are at public comments, 1 hour in. We're
Motion
doing
open
good.
for public
Need a
comments.
motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to open public comments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions? Nope. Okay. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes. I will ask that you stand and come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Ms. Frantantoni. Tommy, can you?
Phyllis Frantantoni, Mount Prospect Avenue. I want to know when the tax bills are going out, because I know that the budget was approved, but we didn't get our tax bills yet. Will we get them for November?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay? And the property between Rucker Street and Academy, where School 1 was, it looks like a forest. Aren't you ever going to get after the owner of that to clean it up?
I can't do that. I'm going to hope the construction code department can, though.
Well, something's got to be done. It looks so atrocious. I mean, you're coming in from Kearney and North Arlington, whatever, and that's what hits you in the eye, is that it's
the gateway
pretty soon you're
property.
going to have goats and deer and everything walking around in it. It's terrible. Really.
It's true. It's a gateway project. Yeah.
The good news is, he did it once before, it got bad, and it looked really nice. Bad news is, 6 weeks later, we have to stand up.
Well, get after him, because you get after, or after the resident if their grass is this much too high, so I think he ought to be fined. And resolution number 5, I see you got a grant for a streetscape on Washington Avenue between Overlook and the Nutley border. Now, is that going to include the light for ShopRite? And meters on the sidewalk there?
Not the light, it's not just part of this project, not that we don't want to do it. It's not part of this project, and meters are,
Meters, we have already discussed openly that it is
Funded.
will be in the 2021 capital budget.
is that mic on?
2026.
Why does it keep getting off?
I heard him.
You heard me.
Well, the light over there by the ShopRite has to be done, I really mean it ASAP. There was a man in a wheelchair trying to cross that street, almost got hit. Luckily, a driver stopped his car to help the man across the street, but the drivers on Washington Avenue just kept coming by. So I think that's something that should take priority over anything. That light's got to go there. Somebody is going to get killed. So I really hope you would keep that up front and get that
Absolutely,
in.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mario?
Mario Charles, 95 Bell Street. You touched on something a minute ago about the Veterans Day Parade, which I was going to ask you. Is it possible to dedicate this parade to the Vietnam veterans? The reason for that is, as you know, well, you weren't around at the time, but those were veterans that were forgotten, and nobody recognized them. No, they were heroes, and nobody recognized them. Do you think we could do that?
Okay.
It's possible, because I am a Gold Star family member, that's why.
I know we're honoring a 102-year-old World War I. It would two, World War II better, but yeah, sure, we'll consider it.
Maybe you could put a resolution on, letting our post 105 and the rest of the veterans know that it's dedicated to them, because most of them are from that era. I understand that the Board of Education was subpoenaed in regards to a lease agreement with you. Is that true?
I have no knowledge of that.
Okay. I'm just telling you what I hear. You know how it is. I don't have to tell you that. Okay. At the last meeting, I did an Oprah after the last meeting about the O'Connor report. And I was denied on that report. First of all, we paid $38,000 for the report, and the issue in that report was discussed here. So I don't know how it can be a personnel issue if you paid for the report and it was discussed here in public. I sent Martino a email, and I haven't gotten a response to that, asking him why does it.
Mario, I haven't gotten an email from you, just so you know.
Well, I'm going to resend it then. I don't know where it went, but I did send one. That's not a problem. I just resend the whole email again, okay? That's number two. Who put resolution number 19 on the table? I believe it is the mayor. And my question is, I was reading the language in it. Who wrote that language up?
I drafted it, sent it to the clerk to clean up.
I thought the attorney is supposed to approve the language before it comes to the agenda.
I think he was CC'd on it.
I didn't hear him answer. That's why I'm asking.
I'm answering.
I have a lawyer-client privilege, Mario, with the mayor and council, so I'm not allowed to answer a question like that.
Which I'm going to read a state statute to you, because that's very disturbing, that last meeting. 4069A91, municipal council to act as a body, administrative services to be performed through the manager, committee, or commissions. It is the intentions of this article that the municipal council should act in the manner as a body, and it is contrary to the spirit of this article for any of its members to seek individually to influence official acts of the municipal manager or any other officer, or for the council or any members to direct questions, to request appointments of any persons, to his removal of office, to interfere in any way with the performance of such officers and their duties. The council members shall deal administrative solely to the manager and not give orders to any subordinates of the manager, either publicly or privately. Nothing in this contains shall prevent the municipal council from appointing committees, commission, or its own members of citizens to conduct investigation in the effort of any officer or department, or any manner relating to the welfare of the municipality and delegating such committees. Any council member violating the provision of this section shall, upon conviction of a court of competent jurisdiction, be disqualified as a council member, which brings me to number 19. I think you should remove that, because I feel all of you are going to be violating the Faulkner Act if you vote for that this evening. That is totally out of order. If I have ever seen a resolution. And also, there's something else here. From what I really think this is a retaliation against that individual. And I don't think that should have been brought up. I don't really think that should have been brought up in public for any of us to know about what is going on. So like I said, if anybody wants to vote on it, that's fine, because I think enough is enough. This is a total interference with employees. And this is something I think that should be investigated by the Attorney General's office.
I think they're here already. Anybody else? Sure.
Vic Mafucci, 61 Continental. I'm making a request, which I believe the police would have to check into. Celia Terrace, between Continental and Drollman, there's a sharp curve. Many cars, especially the ones coming from Drollman, cut that corner. And if you're coming down the other way,
It's dangerous.
you have to slam on your brakes. It'd be good if they could paint a line so you know, so everyone will know which side of the street you're on. I don't know if there have been accidents there, but the potential is phenomenal. So if they could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Good idea, Vic.
Okay. Second one, excuse me, I'll just give this to Jackie. I'm not sure if that should go to you, Mayor, or to the manager. I did get a response to the thing that I put online about my dead tree. And this was the response. Good afternoon. I saw on GovPilot you picked up a request. You put a request for a dead tree. We came and checked the tree. The tree is not dead. We will trim the dead leaders off, and just wanted to follow up. Thank you for using the pilot. Now, I have several pictures. I'll just hold it up. I have two trees on Celia.
Looks dead.
One is fine, the other one I consider dead.
Right.
Take a look at that little tree.
And
Lucky
the
they
other
didn't cut
one's-
down the wrong tree. That's actually happened.
Yeah.
That has happened.
We planted trees where they're supposed to be.
Picture 3
That has happened.
is what I call a dead tree.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Understood. Mort. Mort.
A close-up of the supposedly live tree.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Vic, certainly not to debate whether it's dead or alive. If it's all right with you, I'll have Bobby meet you, and he could explain to you why he doesn't feel it's a dead tree, and you could explain to him why you...
And that was a,
Yeah, and again, just because the leaves are brown doesn't, and I don't want to be the tree expert,
there are barely any leaves.
but I think,
There are no leaves.
I think it would be best,
Charlie Brown tree.
I think it would be best if Bobby met you on site. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Just, I'm curious, because, and I'm not knocking GovPilot, but the address featured, when you put it in, it actually, I was on Liberty yesterday, typed in 17 Liberty, and it literally changes the address in front of you. So maybe he put it in and it
Right,
didn't
so
get the
let me
right
have
address.
Bobby,
It literally changes the address right in front of your eyes.
All right, the other thing is, since I'm on a corner, he may have looked at the tree on Continental. I don't know. But I
I've
specified,
learned to be very specific with these requests.
I was.
I'm going to have Bobby reach out to you tomorrow.
Okay. Do you want my phone number?
We have it, I'm sure we do.
Okay.
Here's your email, right?
Yeah, it's in the paper.
We'll be good.
Thank you.
Okay, and the chief is here, he's writing down notes about the intersection. Anybody else? Sir?
Gary Hinton, 307 Fairway Avenue. I'd like to recognize the Department of Public Works for the wonderful job they did down in the bottom of Fairway Avenue during the storm and after. I understand that you're stopping the pickup now and you're shifting it back over to the garbage company. My question to you is that we got hit bad this time, real bad, up in the first floor. So we have furniture and all that we have to throw out yet, but we didn't throw it out because we got all our clothes in there, and it's a big process, just cleaning up the property with all the mud and damage that was done down there We have a neighbor of mine, there's cellar walls pushed in. I had my floors, and all the mold is coming through, and I'm still in the cleanup process, and it's like so overwhelming. What I want to bring to your attention was I've been fighting this for years with the projects going along the riverbank there, because it directly affects my house because I'm the first one downstream in Belleville. They let the graveyard, not the golf course, the graveyard, fill in that lower land there that the water used to run off on. I was fighting it when they were doing it. Tom Hurwitz was up there with me and a few other people. Vinnie Frantantoni was there. And I was complaining that they're filling that land in that they were supposed to leave open and they agreed to that when they went for the permits for the mausoleum, the last mausoleum they built in Bloomfield. And that was laid out in their procedures that they have to leave that open. Well, hopefully a couple of years go by, 30, 40, 10 trucks coming in, filling all that land. They're doing that for the money they're making on all them burials there, but they're putting all the lives at risk on Fairway Avenue. Right now, it's the first time that it ever came up into our first floor.
No.
So I brought this to your attention then, I'm bringing it to your attention now. I'm hoping that you can do something about it, make them widen that bend there where they filled in, back off a little bit, or we have nothing better to do with the situation and get legal help. And I'm trying to avoid that. Like I said, I like this town. I've been in this town all my life. They make a lot of accusations. You say things. Now they come forward. Past council I would have wound up dealing with the situations that they throw at you, and I'm sure you're wise about that because you went through it.
Mhm.
So I hope there's something you can do up there.
Sure. Manager's taking notes. I'm sure he'll get with our town engineer. It's not something that we could vote on or act on at this point, but I know the manager took some good notes, so we'll hopefully get somebody up there.
FEMA's not much help. They're telling you this ain't covered, that ain't covered.
They're not going
And
to.
you don't know what's covered or not until you're going through a situation like this, and it's devastating.
Sure.
You've got to rip the whole first floor, the floors and all up, right down to the beams. So,
It's horrible.
all right, thank you.
No problem. Managers taking notes. Anybody else? Mr. Frantantoni.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank Mr. Droz for saving me half of my 5 minutes. In regard to Resolution 19, I'm glad, Mr. Mayor, you admitted you wrote this. The other 6 of you, I hope you realize he's violating the Faulkner Act, and you better not vote on this. There's going to be repercussions on this. But I guess that's what Mr. Iacona was referring to. He couldn't comment. Maybe is this the resolution? But if you were to suspend the official, I'm sure he would have to be suspended with pay. So, Mr. Mayor, which one of your buddies do you want to bring in as the acting construction code official? Is that your motive here? It seems to be you're getting all your Better Belleville people on the payroll in town so we can know who the acting construction official will be?
I don't hire.
No, all right. Well, there's, you keep doing these things. We keep getting in litigation, and it seems to be this is your modus operandi. And I base it
Name
on
some of the litigations we've been in? Because we haven't had any litigation since I've been here, actually.
At the last meeting, you just said a $38,000 lawsuit was settled.
No, that's
What
not.
was that? What
not-
happened at the last meeting?
That is
What was
not
that
true.
38,000?
We did not settle any, there was no litigation, there was no lawsuit, there was no settlement.
What was the $38,000 legal fees for last meeting?
Incorrect. Your
What was it for?
It's for an investigation.
Oh, okay, so again, then let me rephrase it. It's all these legal fees that we're doing, all right?
Can you name a second one beyond that in 3.5 years?
And I believe it's intentional, and I base that on a conversation with your infamous bosom buddy back in 1987. When I got elected, we had a
I was 13.
contract.
Go ahead.
All right.
I was 13. Go ahead.
Well, you learn young from him. So what happened, I took office, but the previous administration had hired a professional, and your buddy come to my office and wanted me to fire him. And I says, I can't fire him. He's got a contract from the previous administration. We're negotiating with him to solve the problem. I said, if I fire him, we'll wind up in lawsuits. And he says, yeah. And he says, that's what you want. I said, we want a lawsuit? Yeah, you're an official now. You get a lawsuit, you get the opportunity to hire lawyers, the town pays for the lawyers. Come election time, those lawyers give you the big campaign contributions. So I hope that's not your motive in that. But I got an issue, the folks on Greylock Parkway, adjacent, their backyards abut the municipal stadium. I'm very familiar with that because my wife's cousin lived right there on Greylock, next door to your buddy for many years. These people suffered for years with the flooding because the stadium area is a bog and all, and nobody did anything about it. There's a drainage ditch adjacent to their backyards over there. When I got in office, it was brought to my attention, we cleaned it out, we widened the ditch, and we maintained it, kept it open. So in storms, it would take it didn't solve the entire problem, but it kept enough of the water that would keep it away from the houses. They've been having severe problems before Ida. Now, they contacted me, some of these residents. You were warned before Ida. You were sent pictures. Pictures were sent to the town manager. On August 9th, they were sent to Nicole. Brian from Neglia knows about this, Mr. Iacono. One lady called Mayor Mellon, Councilman Rovell, Mr. Iacono, and Tom Harris. Tom Harris was the only one that got back to him and admitted there's a problem. They warned you that when they surcharged the field, all that thing was going to create havoc with their properties and all that. But here's some pictures. Look at these. That drainage ditch hasn't been cleaned in years. I'm going to give Mr. Iacono these pictures, which were already sent to you. I don't know if the rest of you council members, if they were given to you to see them.
You need to wrap up.
You can look at them now. It's a disgrace. Those people lost their cars. They lost a lot of their property was damaged and all for this, when a lot of it could have been solved if somebody had kept that drainage ditch clean. So, with all the surcharge, that's a bog. If you stand in the middle, Division, Knowlton, Drollman, and Greylock and Passaic are all higher. You're not going to solve it. So keep putting 10 pounds of you-know-what in a 1-pound bag, and we're going to continue to suffer this. But somebody's got to get in and clean them ditches out immediately, and these people warned you.
Thank you.
Now they got a good lawsuit against you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Fleischman?
Good evening, Carmela Fleischman at 33 Main Street. First of all, again, props and, cheers to the DPW. They did an amazing job. Congratulations to the Green Team for the success of that was really fun. That was really, really fun. Hopefully that will be a yearly event, This Gov Pilot, the program thing, we called with 2 problems. The next day they were taken care of.
What department, do you remember? DPW's really quick.
Yeah, and the other one was the police department.
Yeah, because there was a abandoned car over and it had sat there for about a week, and I know there was abandoned cars everywhere, but everyone was trying to get them. There was no activity on that one, so that one, and then they just came around and cleaned up on Main Street, and we saw there was more dumping that wasn't like Ida related. You could tell how that was. But so we've had no issues with it. Mrs. Frantantoni made the comment about the school number 1. That does look bad. Looks really bad. And then there is a and I'm not sure where this would fall. It's a big pothole that's starting to develop on Main Street near what condo? Near the 21 interchange, coming out of that property, and like their property is all broken up here, and I don't know if it's connected. So if somebody can go out and look at the road, because the road is a big pothole, but like I said, their exit to that complex is also broken up, so I'm not sure if they're connected. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else? Sir?
Bill Milden, Huckle Street. Many people want to know if it's true that the Belleville taxpayers are paying you almost $3,000 a month for 5 years to rent part of your house to the Board of Ed?
Not true.
Not true?
Not my house, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Good evening. Santos Martinez, 297 Belmont. I know I made several requests in past meetings about the speed trap and on my street, but I misunderstood. What we have is on carts. It's on wheels, actually, I'm sorry, where it just states the speed of the car passing by.
It's also taking data, though.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
That's, okay. So data as in,
Data meaning that the police traffic department can then download and find out how many cars passed, what the average speed was. what the
oh,
fastest
but not
vehicle.
specific to the drive, to the car passing.
That would help them determine what the next steps would be. That's the first step in the process.
Oh, so then they
Data
could,
collection.
they could assess from there if they need to post a patrol
Right.
car.
It's data collection. It's data
That's
collection.
wonderful. Good news. I'm happy to hear that. Okay. Because, like I said, I've stated over and over, that's a really big problem there. And now, I forgot to mention this last time, but if once you pass Cross Street, you have a clear view of that light. And I know this is just retarded, human behavior. They want to beat that light. And that's a really long block. So when I tell you that most of these cars catch the green light, it goes to say that they're going about 50, 60 from that corner to get to that light and beat the light. So that's very, very dangerous there. So we really, I'm begging, please, let's curtail that behavior. Is there any way, because I saw a documentary on TV and then I read some data on this about 2 months ago. I forgot to print it out, but what's starting to happen is this overdevelopment of a lot of towns where because they said that New Jersey is the densest populated town, state in the country. And what's happening is that in a lot of where there's getting this overbuilding, over construction, is that the infrastructure can't sustain the activity. So what's starting to happen is they're getting a lot of water main breaks, streets are collapsing. And that's what I'm worried about with all the construction that's going on in Belleville. I don't know what you guys' background is. I lived in the Bronx. I left the Bronx, man. If you guys don't know what it's like to be in a crowded spot, go hang out there for a weekend. You catch a light 4 times. That's insane. And that's starting to happen here. You get a light over there, like by me on Franklin Street, and then you catch that light, come across Franklin Street a good 3-4 times, okay? Part of the problem, though, is also because of the light rail. But then you're catching it on Belleville Avenue, I noticed, too, also. Then you start to get into a danger where people get impatient and start beating the light. And I've seen near misses where people are crossing the street and they're trying to beat that light. So I'm just putting this in your shirt pocket again, please. I know it looks good with the ratables and all that is good, but if we overbuild in this town, one, it's going to get crowded, schools get crowded, and our infrastructure is going to suffer immensely. So please be aware of that. I've seen it, it's starting to be more and more common in a lot of cities in the country that is happening. Last thing I want to bring up is the cleaning of our corners. I noticed that, I forgot to bring this up several times. I did a project in Jersey City years ago, and I remember, they used to have a truck. They used to go to the catch basins in the corners and clean them out. Do we have anything like that here? I've never seen it.
We were just talking about that, actually.
Yeah, we do it.
So there's a truck that will lift that up and
Giant
clean out
vacuum.
these catch basins?
Yeah, it's like a vacuum.
Okay. And we do that, like we have a record of the cleaning? Okay.
Schedule.
Okay, cool. Do we also have a breakdown? I might be overreaching here. of the age of our infrastructure in various parts of the city, or throughout the city, actually, throughout the town. So, for example, just to throw a region, Washington Avenue, are those pipes there, are they 120 years old? Are they 80 years old?
Our township engineer has most of that data.
Oh, does he? Okay, is that accessible where, you know, we could request that, just out of
I'm sure.
Just
How
for
you
my
ask for
neighborhood,
it.
I'm not looking for the whole town.
Yeah.
I'm really looking for my neighborhood.
Yeah, if you're in the Silver Lake section, a lot of that infrastructure was just redone when the Nork replaced.
Yes, that's
the
true, it
lead
was.
service line.
They did which made a real big difference. We used to get a lot of sinkholes, and we haven't had one in, I'm gonna say, a good 5 years. So that work they did paid off. Do we also have a list of the amount of construction that's going on in our city? Where can I obtain that information? Like, is that something through the construction code official, or?
Potentially.
So is that something I could call him and ask? And see
I'm
how
sure
many-
there's got to be
I'm
something
just looking
available.
for major project, I'm not looking for rebuilding them.
I'm sure they have a list. Yep.
Yeah. I'll check that. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Anthony's got
Anybody
it.
else? Oh, Chief.
The second part of that speeding complaint, I was taking notes.
Say it again, I'm
The
sorry.
second part of your speeding complaint, what was the location of that?
Belmont?
It's on Belmont. I live between Newark Avenue and Cross, and then the other area I'm talking about is Cross to Franklin Street, where they try to, that's the whole school force.
They try to get it.
Beat that light.
Amazing. Anybody else? Sir?
Addressed.
Jerry DeGarcio, 8 Grove Street. Mr. Mayor, are you considering withdrawing Resolution 19?
No.
Okay. Then I'm glad you said that you wrote this up, because technically if an attorney wrote this up, I'd have a very big question about it. But paragraph 3, for example, whereas the mayor and the council have a duty and an obligation to the residents and business community to protect the well-being of the community. I didn't know the well-being of the community was in danger. That's number one. But the big problem is the last paragraph. And that is, now herefore be it resolved that the mayor and municipal council of the Township of Belleville hereby request the township manager to consider suspending the construction code official until a time whereby these investigations have concluded and he determines whether or not discipline is warranted. Now, the problem with this is, number one, it is getting ahead of itself. From what I understand, is an investigation by the Attorney General's office. And I think we should wait until that is done. Number two, I know Mr. Iacona knows his job. And technically, I have never heard of, I don't believe you, is the construction code official a civil service position?
State.
Yes.
Yes. From my understanding, and I've been a shop steward with the state CWA Local 1037, I am currently an executive board member of the Fraternal Order Police 106. You cannot suspend somebody unless discipline is warranted and you bring up disciplinary charges. That's how I know the law. Now, I may be correct, but if Mr. Iacoda feels that I'm not, I wish he would tell me. Because that's how I understood the rules. You can't suspend unless you bring somebody up on disciplinary charges. Am I correct?
Through the chair.
I don't know what we can talk, what,
Well, we're not talking about the specifics. We're just talking about what's legal and what isn't legal, technically, about this resolution.
Through the chair. I'm prohibited from speaking on topic.
You're prohibited from speaking on the topic itself?
Yeah, again,
It's on the agenda.
I have to give you, and again.
I think the manager said at the beginning of this meeting that he was going to be limited at what he could say, as we all are, by the way,
Well, then if you all are, why is this on the agenda?
to get a vote and to ask the manager to consider an action.
Well, the feeling I have is you should stay out of it until the Attorney General's investigation is done. And then,
Your opinion is noted.
Now, if the gentleman is indicted, then I would say he has a right to bring up a disciplinary charge and suspend.
Even if
But he's not
indicted-
even charged yet.
He's not indicted. There may be employment issues that Mr. Iacono.
I agree with you, but you're saying to suspend him until the investigation is concluded and he determines whether or not discipline is warranted. You have to use discipline in order to suspend.
I'm just kind of shocked that there's not more outrage of the other way around, that everything that happened and everything that went down.
But no, I'm just talking about legalities, because I don't want the town getting sued, and then I have to pay extra taxes to take care of a law settlement
probably
because
should've-
it's going to be in the millions of dollars.
You probably should have been around the 6 or 7 years before me to talk about the millions of dollars that we settle in lawsuits.
I'm concerned about this one. This one is way overboard.
So
It is before anything should be done.
3.5 years, this council has not incurred a lawsuit that we've settled, by the way, just so you know that. 3.5 years.
Well, maybe this is going to break the record for
Our
you.
track record is pretty good.
I think this might break the record for you. My suggestion to this council, you move the motion, no one seconded it, and that's the end of it until the investigation is over. But in my opinion, to try and do something like this and ask him to do something he's not allowed to do, as far as I know.
You're not an attorney, but
I may not be an attorney, but I know labor law pretty well.
do need you to wrap up.
I will finish. That's it. I'm done. Thank you.
At least everybody's on the same page. That's good. Anybody else? Nope. Seeing none, hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close public comments. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Casarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano? Natori?
Yes.
Ravel?
Yes.
Schummelberg? Mayor Melham?
Yes. Next item is resolutions. We have the consent agenda. Anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to pull two. I'd like to pull two of them, number 3. and
Three.
And number 19.
3 and 19. Anybody else?
I'd like to pull 7.
Got 3. 7. I was going to pull 6, but we've already, I think, discussed that enough, so. So we have 3, we have 7, we have 19. Anything else? No?
Motion for the consent
I'll
agenda.
get a motion. We have a motion for the consent agenda. We have a motion made and second for the consent agenda. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Casarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natori?
Yes.
Ravel?
Yes.
Schummelberg? Mayor Melham?
Yes. Resolution number 3, Councilman Graziano.
Yeah, so before I vote on this, I have a couple questions. Back in July and August, I believe an ordinance was passed to create a position, and it was purchasing. It's a purchasing agent. So I just wanted that to come out for people to be aware, as well as myself, that there was a purchasing agent position appointed then. So my question to Ann is, back then and up to now, who has been doing that job?
That's a question for the manager.
Manager.
So by statute, we have a part-time QPA. That person does not work in town hall, and that person would get paid $25 an hour. Last year, that person made roughly $7,000 and change.
7K, okay. Which leads me to my next. So in today, we are looking for a resolution. Again, I'm not going to say the name, but I believe this individual currently carries a position of payroll and pension, correct?
Correct.
So that means this person is taking on another responsibility, correct?
To serve as the township's QPA by statute, that is correct.
Okay. Has any baseline been done? And I don't know if you could talk financial or nothing, from what we paid there of how it was being done to how it's going to be done, and who's performing that function.
Yeah, so very, very basic formula. We were paying a payroll clerk X, and then we were paying the QPA Y. Y is the 7,000 and change. Because when we hired the payroll clerk, she did have the same license that we were paying someone else for. And again, it's the license that's required by statute in order for us to increase our bid threshold. So because of that, it seemed like a no-brainer to allow us to use her license instead of paying somebody to use their license. So prior to us taking this action, we were paying somebody, close to $8,000, $7,000 and change to use their license. Okay, similar to back in the day when we had a CFO. And the CFO was not a town employee, but the CFO was the custodian of records for the finance department by using that license. So, I believe that we discussed this. We're actually doing this to save the additional $7,000 and change.
Okay, so, just to be clear, this person will be carrying 3 roles: payroll, pension, and QPA, and doing 3 functions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm good.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, that's all I have. That's all I have.
So,
Need a
yeah.
motion to move it?
We're still in discussion on that. So I can totally, I follow the math. We've discussed it. The math works. So one employee's making X, a new employee's making that same X. We're paying a third party $7,000 and change. That third party is no longer engaged. Therefore, you could argue and justify there is a small savings. And I'm all about that. So that works for me. My only issue with this is I would have liked to, and her name is here on the resolution, by the way. I think that the mayor and council very rarely get a chance to hire people. We hire you, we hire the town attorney, we hire the clerk, or we appoint the clerk, I should say. And there's usually a process. There's an interview, there's a discussion, there's questions, I'm being asked today, and this is a duty, just so everybody knows, our 4th duty is to appoint a QPA. That's our job to do that. We do the appointing. By resolution, it's a vote. And I wasn't afforded the opportunity to speak to her. I never saw her resume. I never had the opportunity to say, has she ever done this before? I don't, like when you came in, we asked you a lot of questions. And I know the council vetted Mr. Martino. We have the ability, I wasn't afforded any opportunity to see a resume, ask her credentials, ask if she's done this before. So therefore, for that reason, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm probably in the minority. Anybody else on this, and then we'll call the question? Nope, we need a motion then to move it?
Motion.
Motion made and second to move it. Clerk call the roll.
Councilman Casarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Abstain.
Natori?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Abstain? Next item we have is what, 7?
Chico.
Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment out. For those of you who knew Chico, he was a legendary soccer player. He was actually a Belleville High School graduate, Hall of Famer, played in the 1984 Olympics,
NJIT.
and he played for Cosmos, right?
Yeah,
He was
NJIT.
NJIT All-American. So, sadly, he passed away in January. So I just wanted to remember him and send up our prayers to his family because he was a great credit to our town.
Yeah, legend, soccer legend, yeah.
So make a motion?
Saw that on social media. We have a motion, we need a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Casarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natori?
Yes.
Robel?
Yes.
Strumelberg? Mayor Melham?
Yes. Did you write that resolution, Steve, or did?
No, I think Kelly did.
Who wrote it? Since we're worried about authors today. Resolution 19.
I try not to write things.
I did.
Hold it. Tommy?
Yes. So again, just like to have a comment on this. I understand what this was discussed. I'm not going to rehash it. But I really believe we do, and it's not our job to hire and fire. I do understand that it's the managers to do that. But in conversation last week or 2 weeks ago, there were some facts that were presented. And that said, right, wrong, or indifferent, I believe on behalf of the town manager has an obligation, based on the facts or investigation that has been done, to do the right thing. what he feels that right thing is to do. Yes, there's an investigation at a hierarchy, but that said, if nothing is done and there is something that becomes out of this at a higher level, then we really have to stop and think about how it was handled and hold people accountable, okay, across all levels. Not just how it was done, but how these tasks happened and things that may have been done and not done. So you understand where I'm coming from? I hope you do. But yes, it is the manager's obligation or his responsibility based on the information that he understands and knows and come to find, and possibly more stuff too, if at all. So I just wanted to share that before I cast my vote.
Mayor, if I may, I would like to ask council, is presenting a resolution asking the township manager to consider this, is this giving him directive, and is that a violation of the Faulkner Act?
So I heard the objectors, I heard the people who made public comment, and so, no, obviously, it's not a directive. Nobody's directing, if it's passed, it's not a directive. Contrary to some of the public comment, that statute talks about an individual's influence of the township manager. This resolution, if it's passed, is not an individual's influence of the manager. It would be the will of the council, and there is case law, specific case law, and when they talk about a conviction, they were not talking about the will of the council. They were talking about there's case law that I obviously researched prior to today that says that the conviction talks about an individual's influence of the township manager. Under the Faulkner Act, an individual council member cannot influence or attempt to influence the township manager. But the case law does allow, and it specifically says the will of the council, the manager can respond to the will of the council if he wanted to. He does not have to. This resolution, as it's worded, talks about whether or not he would consider it. All this would do, just like many people, I think, have come up here and asked about, why hasn't this council passed a resolution condemning January 6th? Why haven't this council passed a resolution directing the Attorney General to carry out the report of the Board of Education? Well, just like those resolutions wouldn't be binding on anybody, this resolution wouldn't be binding on the township manager.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was going to pull this anyway to just discuss it real quick as well. There's no secret as to what transpired at the last council meeting. There's 32 minutes of video and audio on that in the public. And as I said that day, that was not held in the public at our behest. That was at this particular person's request to have that in public. Therefore, everything that was said a meeting ago, 2 weeks ago, is in the public record. It's 32 minutes long. Anything that was said can be still spoken about. Just know that we, as a council, our professionals, Mr. Iacono, Mr. Martino, our assistant manager when he's here, we are also prone to things you don't know. We convened executive session earlier. We've been in executive session before. We are also prone to things you do not know. That's number one. Number two, this particular title is a state title, and there's a separate set of code of ethics that goes with that specific title. Not a state employee code of ethics, but a code of ethics specifically for construction officials. And for those of you who questioned the paragraph about the general public, that comes directly from the Construction Official Code of Ethics, where it says that code officials will never knowingly act in a way that might create the impression or suspicion among the public that they are engaged in conduct violative to the public trust. Mr. Iacono, 2 weeks ago, last meeting, said on the record that this particular person took money he should not have taken. That was done on the record. Let me just pose a question to you. If you were one of those developers that had your escrow money taken, and you maybe want to ask for that money back, but yet that particular person is still reviewing your plans, scheduling your inspections, and doing everything else, you might be hesitant to do that. Therefore, it might be better if there was somebody else performing that duty while this investigation is ongoing. That was the only point of this resolution, to make sure Township manager knew and was aware of that type of situation, therefore he can make his own decision. That was the absolute only reason why this resolution is here. Anybody else? If not, we'll call the question.
I did have one follow-up question, Mayor. So in absence of the construction official, for whatever reason, is there someone else that does the duties of this person?
I believe there is somebody else in the construction code department that has the same license. If not, which happens if I have an inspection or Councilman Cosarelli's inspection, another town picks it up. They don't charge us. There's no additional fees. Just like court cases, we send them to other towns. They send them here. It would be picked up that way.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
And just one more follow-up.
Sure.
And just exactly to what you said, that there was stated that there was wrongdoing, right?
The manager
Well,
said
from the
that.
manager said
That was not me.
Right, no, so the manager said that. So, and that's why I said it comes accountability, right? So if town manager decides to do nothing, that's by choice, but if something comes out later, manager's accountable. So that's why I'm saying accountability right up the top. That's,
Okay, so we're ready to go. So just to be clear, a yes, because sometimes we get confused with, no, but we'll make one. A yes would be to ask the manager to consider. A no is to not ask the manager to consider. Just so sometimes that gets, so I need a motion.
Motion?
And just to let the record reflect, an abstention would be considered a no vote. I'm sorry, it goes down as a no vote, but does count as a no vote when you tally up the results.
Well, just to be clear, it does not go down as a no vote.
NV on our resolution, it says NV, no, right. Not a vote,
It's
not a
not
vote.
a vote, which means that there's no vote. That means if you don't have a majority of 4, because 7 council members are here, it would not carry. It's not a no vote. It effectively is a no vote in that it won't count towards passing it.
Okay. We got it? I want to make sure nobody's confused, because it does get confusing. But I need a motion then.
So move.
Motion made? Need a second? Anybody? What happens? I don't know what happens. So there's, it just, right there?
Well,
And we
somebody
somebody can move it and just vote no. I mean, I think people need to also.
Or somebody can move to strike it.
If that is what we want to do. I think we are at a crossroads here where people need to start making decisions that, might not be popular, but ultimately, we have to have the guts to do what we were elected to do. Pass it, vote no, vote yes, do what you want to do, but not discussing this is telling people that we are comfortable with what's happening. At least that's how I see this. And I think this is, we have a responsibility that goes beyond the duty of friendships, beyond the duty of, he's a good man, he's not a good man. We need to make decisions. So I would really hope that someone would second this so you can vote. And on the record, it would say that you don't agree, that you agree that this should not be investigated.
I agree with you. I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion made, and we now have a second. Thank you for that compelling argument, Deputy
Thanks.
Mayor. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Cosarelli?
Take no part.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Take no part.
Natori?
Take no part.
Ravel?
Take no part.
Strumelob Burke?
Take no part.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. New business. Do we have anything?
I got one thing, a little communication. I missed this when we were talking about the Green Team stuff, but through our Green Team chairwoman, Gabby Bennett-Meany, she was contacted by the supervisor at Passaic Valley, who throws all the green fairs around the whole state, and he told her that he attended the one in Belleville. He said it was Not only the biggest, the best, and the most well-attended first-time green fair that he's ever been to in the entire state. So
Great
kudos
job.
to Belleville and the Board of Education.
And Gavin.
So, yeah, and of
And
course,
Gavin.
Gavin.
Of course,
Motion.
Second? Got it? All in favor?
Aye.